Before we begin the initiation, the most important part of motivation. Uh, I'm sure many of you have received many initiations. You will hear all the masters telling you that it is very important to have the right motivation. But I also feel that many people, we neglect this part because feeling that this is just the beginning. For example, prayers and all that. So this is just for the beginners and not for the senior or the people who have done this for many years. But I feel this is where we make the biggest mistake because that actually the beginning part is where we are making the biggest mistake, because when we are not ready to receive, to practice basically, then if you go into the teachings to understand, then we do not get the full result of these teachings, because then we are not ready. We are not ready to give up. We are not ready to give up this samsara. We are not ready to. We feel that so good, but Saturday, Sunday is not so bad actually. So okay. So that's where I feel we have to be very careful. That's one of the main reasons that almost all the masters will they talk about suffering. Many people say, oh, they always talk about suffering. Why are we always talking about suffering? Because that's very important. Because until and unless you understand fully the meaning of suffering, the meaning of samsara, and until and unless you are 110% ready to give up or ready to get rid of the samsara, then until then we are ready. So that's why it is very important to have the right motivation, and the right motivation is, as a Mahayana and especially Vajrayana, is that for the sake of all sentient beings that we are going to receive, or we are going to do any kind of practice basically, or anything we do. Enlightenment is basically for all sentient beings, never for oneself. If I could even go further, it is not for this life. I mean, we say that there are three kinds of students. The least, the lowest kind of student, they are trying to do something good in this life. They are trying to find, trying to do better, trying to be compassionate, trying to be more offerings, or give poor people food and all that, because they want to have do something good in this life. Now the second kind of the middle students, they are thinking about the next life. People who, okay, we want to have a better life next life, we want to have better things in next life, we will be better practitioner as a next life. So this is considered mid-range student. The highest form of students, then we are all thinking about so for the sake of all sentient beings, that we are going to be enlightened. For that only purpose, if we do any kind of practice, this is the best and the highest students that we have. So if you think about this practices, it is all about next life. It is all about, because it is much better to think about next life than this life. Because anything in this life, you may think that only bad things, like the bad things we do, now that's something that we should be try to avoid. But then if you go a little bit further into the teachings, then you will find there is no good thing and there is no bad things. Emotions, as long as you have emotions, as long as you have attachment, and because good and bad, all of this sweet and sour, and all of this actually basically your emotions. There's nothing is out there which is not your own perception. So that's why it is very important to understand these things. And in order to do that, that's one of the main reasons that all the masters, they talk about samsaric, the suffering, and all of this, because that is where the most, in fact, I would say that is the biggest hurdle that you have to overcome to be enlightened. Because once you're in the path, once you are like fully ready to give up get rid of the samsara, then if you don't have any faults, then I could say that the practice is basically downhill. It's easy. It's because then you have nothing to be which is keeping you in this samsara. At the same time, I think at the same time it's very important to understand when we say get out of this samsara. Samsara is a circle of life. It's like a wheel where there's no end. So we are literally thinking that I think many people have a feeling that when we say enlightenment, we are going somewhere else. We are going to heaven, or we are going to some other place. Then you will be enlightened. This is also I sometimes feel when we explain. At the same time, also, of course, there are many different kinds of people who will understand according to their how to say ability to understand, or ability to how to say intake these teachings. They will understand that, but some people need to feel that you need to get out of this place in order to. But I think the main thing is that you are not gaining anything which you already don't have. Buddhism you anything which you don't have. Buddhism is not teaching you anything new that you don't have. So this is also a very important. For me, it was very important when I kind of, as we were going through the teachings, when I came to that part, it was a very a big milestone in my life. So I thought it was also important for you to understand. Maybe we want how to say better. If you don't understand, if you don't have the ability, if you, let's say you have a pot or a glass or a bottle or whatever, which can intake 1 liter of water, but now doesn't matter whether you are in front of an ocean, or whether you are taking it from a bucket, or whether you are taking it from a small place, the limit of that bottle is going to be 1 liter. It's not going to be, doesn't matter whether you are taking it from a sea or whatever. The point is that your limit is 1 liter. That we have to understand. So that means that if you don't try to practice the what you have learned from your master, then even Buddha comes himself in front of you. Or for example, today's initiation is Manjushri, today's date is Manjushri. If the Manjushri is coming directly in front of you, you cannot learn anything more than what you can. That's why it is very important to practice your how do you say the accumulation of merit. That is very important. This is what I have, according to my understanding of the Buddhist teaching that I have learned till now, that I have, generally we saw we want to be enlightened, we want to do practice emptiness and all that. We want to go straight to the deeper end of the your problem. But then, if you don't have the merit, there's nothing. Buddha himself cannot do. Even Manjushri, Guru Rinpoche, any deity you come, if you don't have the ability, then there's nothing any masters can do. So that is very important for you to have a good merit. So that means in order to have a good merit in your daily life, to have to be more compassionate, to be more forgiving, to be more kind, to be more helping others. That is very important because this is the source where you will get your merit. Without merit, there's no matter how brilliant, how clever, how good your IQ is, does not matter, because if you don't have the merit, then there's nothing anybody can do. So that's why generally that to have a good merit, and coming back to my first point, why masters teach about suffering. It's almost, I always say this many in all the places, it almost feels like Tibetan masters are obsessed with suffering. They love to talk about suffering all the time. When I was younger, I used to, because when I talk to people, some people may say that. I also used to feel, yeah, why are they always talking about suffering all the time? They love to talk about suffering. Wherever they go, the first part is suffering. Now, why is that? Because we are not we are not ready to give up our suffering. I almost jokingly sometimes I say that we enjoy too much our suffering. We are enjoying the suffering so that we don't want to get rid of our suffering. So that is where um, it's very important to understand what suffering is. Because let's say if you're angry, and you can, from everybody, from time to time, when you get angry, you try this yourself, that you try to find your suffering. That is where according to what I have understand, what I feel, that you can't find your suffering. And this, I mean, Buddha's teachings, what is it? I mean, also, this is also a very important milestone in my life, that when I find that Buddha's teachings are so simple, yet so deep, yet so vast. Forget about higher higher Buddhist philosophies or higher teachings. Even your general life, if generally in a daily life, we don't know. This is what I find. We don't think at all. We may think that we are thinking all the time. Oh, I'm thinking, I'm planning about tomorrow. I'm planning about day after tomorrow, next month, next year, and I'm doing all this work. I'm thinking, but we are, how do you say, uh, it's almost like if I have a house in my dream, now I'm thinking how to take care of that house all the time. How do I paint the house? This is, remember that this house is in my dreams, not in my in this one. So I'm thinking about the how to take care of that stuff. Or if there's a rain, then what should I do? How to clean my driveway, the car I have in my dream. How should I, change the oil, change the tire, winter tire, summer tire? I am consumed. I'm all the time thinking about that. But then we don't realize it doesn't exist. I enjoy it too much. I love my house in my dream, so I don't want to give that up. So that's why we are always consumed in this. How do you say? A perfect example is when you have children, or when you know children around you, when they are playing with their toys, or when they are whatever games they are playing, they are very serious about that. When the things doesn't work in their games, their children are crying. They're seriously, it's not like they don't realize it's not real, but for them it is very much real. So that's why they are crying, they're screaming, they are worried. So we think it's just a toy or it's just a game. Why are children? It's just children. We say, okay, we say it's just children are doing it. But we are doing the same exact thing. So I feel maybe the masters, the yogis, and the people who have realized, when they look at us, I feel, I'm sure they must be feeling the same, that what we look at our children. Because our children, they don't understand how, what is important, what is not. This is just a toy. Or we normally feel. I feel like they must be they feel when they look at us, because we do the same thing what our kids are doing. So the reason why I'm saying is that we don't think is that whatever problem you have, if you think, I mean, I'm not talking about how to say, thinking about the problem of that. You think a little bit deeper, the cause of the problem, all those. As soon as you do that, most of your problems, samsaric problems, are already solved. We are not thinking. This is very important teaching that I have learned, that we don't think at all. We have no idea what we are doing. we have, for example, what do we all want as everybody, whether you are Buddhist or non-Buddhist or believer or non-believer, whatever you are, what we want is all want peace and how do you say, we want happiness, basically happiness. Why do you want peace? Because we want happiness. Now, if you ask yourself, what is happiness? Then that's where I feel this is, because we never go beyond, we want happiness. We want, you want, I want you to be happy. I want me to be happy. I want that person to be happy. I want this person to be happy. But we don't go beyond that. Just one step beyond that, then you will see that, I don't want to ruin anything for you, but you'll see that there's not such thing as really as happiness. You cannot find happiness. Just like that, if you cannot find happiness, then just like that, you will also be won't be able to find suffering, because we make the rules. We try. It's like okay. Another example is Australia people people play cricket. We play cricket. I live in India, so I also used to play cricket when I was younger. Now, people who are playing cricket, let's say some other game, card game or any other game. The people who don't play the other game, so what are these people doing? They're all this time sitting around this thing and they're playing this. They don't understand. Cricket is much better. Now, the people who are playing the other game, looking at this, people playing cricket, so why are they standing around in the sun for a whole day, for days, and around with some ball, and then right? Why are they doing that? It's the same thing. We do the same. We everywhere same thing. We cannot find what we are looking for. We want. We all want something. But if you go one step beyond that, if you just think like rationally, calmly, but we cannot do things like this when you are already in your emotion, like you're already angry, already in desire, or already then it is difficult. Already your mind is already controlled by your emotions, then you are not, you cannot think clearly. This you can only do when you are generally in the some, when you are not in any kind of pressure or you're angry or anything like that. This is where you can think rationally, because as soon as you are thinking with emotions like anger, desire, or anything like that, you stop thinking rationally. Very extreme. You're going to the extreme. Any direction you are thinking extreme. So that's why think rationally. And also this just like physically we need exercise or physically, whatever games or profession you are in, you need practice to become good physically. Whether you are a chef or military or sports or anything like that, you need practice for not just for one day, but for months and years. You need to practice. Just like that, so you need practice, because to practice to be more compassion, practice to be more kind, to practice to be more tolerance, because this is where when you do your I suggest that normally people feel that only when you're doing your sadhana, that is the time to be compassionate and really quiet and really. But generally, in your daily life, you're the same. You're angry and you're screaming and you're doing all kinds of. But I think this is where we always say, if you cannot put your practice into your daily life, then of course there's a benefit, but I feel then you are not getting the full result of your practice. So that's why I think it's very important to have use your sadhana time or anything like that to be more kind, because then when you are used to being compassionate, then whatever problems you face, whatever we're going through your emotions, it'll be much easier and better for you to overcome that emotion and to be more compassionate. So anyways, the reason why I'm saying that is to be more to practice to be more kinder, to be so that you can get merit, and because there are two kinds of merits that one must have to be enlightened. Accumulation of merit and accumulation of wisdom. Without these two things, these are also called the we can also say method and wisdom. These two things are very important. Without these two things combined, there is no enlightenment, there is no nothing, so we cannot achieve anything. So whatever practice you do, you stick to that practice. Sometimes people may say, "Oh, Manjushri is peaceful. We want some wrathful, Vajrapani, very strong." And I feel this is how we look at, how we want to see it. But from their point of view, from their side, there is no difference whether you are your own master, your guru, or you're the deities, or any kind of deity. They're all same. There's no difference whatsoever. So whether you are practicing Avalokitara, Manjushri, or Vajrapani, or anything like that, there's no difference whatsoever. You don't have to have all these. You don't have to do 10 different deities to get what you want. So if you can stick to your own, what do you say, the one that we normally call it the karmic link deity, then it'll be much better for you. So anyways, so right motivation is for the sake of all sentient beings that we are going to receive this initiation today. And it is very important to have that clear as possible, and also to think about your life and think about the emotions. We generally feel that we want everybody to forget everybody else. I think this is also one kind of mistake that we make, that we always try to be more compassionate ourselves, but at the same time, our mind is more about we want others to be more compassionate. But then you cannot control other people. We cannot think, or we cannot do anything about what other people are feeling, what other people are going through, because you have no control whatsoever. You don't even have control about your own self. You forget about other people. So what others do is their own karma, but you can at least we think that we have some kind of control over our own mind. So this is where I think it is very important to how do you say, to calm your mind and to think about what you have done. This is very important. What you have done, what you want to do, what you want to achieve, if you're doing this for the sake of all sentient beings. So this is a very important step, and this is the more, I would even say this is the most important step, the beginning, when you are getting into the practice. This is the most important how do you say part of your practice, because once your mind is already set, once your mind is like without a doubt, this is also important. Just yes, we want to get rid of our samsara. We want to. That's kind of we can, even without how to say rational thinking, we can say that. But the problem is doubt. Maybe Monday or Saturday or Sunday, or this one apple is good, but others are. So these things, you have doubt. That is the biggest problem that we face, is our doubt. Now, to clear the doubt, now this is where it takes time, from the beginning till your enlightenment. The doubt. This is where all the meditation, all the practice to clear the doubt. The more you are into your practice, the less you will have doubt. When you have 110% into your practice, then there is not much how do you say problem. There is no suffering, so it's much easier. Because in that state, then there's no going back. Then you cannot. If you, let's say, your anger, desire, ignorance, if you already get rid of those things, because those are the main things which is keeping you in this samsara. But if you are already get rid of all these things, then how do you say, you are already on the path to be enlightened. So it is very important that to clear without the doubt is the most difficult part to clear. So how do you say, because we have been feeling these emotions for so long, it's like almost like muscle memory. You don't have to teach do certain things. Driving, you don't have to. The first day you may be thinking, oh, what to do this, what to do, how, where to look, where are going, looking at back, side, all those things. But once you start driving for days, months, years, you are not thinking to touch, one not to touch. You are automatically doing everything. So the muscle memory, something like that. Also, your emotions are already, how to say, playing with you. So it is very important to understand that. So we'll do a short meditation before the initiation, so that we are ready to receive this initiation. Oh, Namgada, Tobe Sanjay, Kobarum, Jedon, Jin Jambaya, Rabazana, Jisono, Samosala. Tu Nyamsoja, Nyamba, Sanjogi, Soto, Jabasa, Sambara, Sho, Telandere, Bo, Judo, Trube, Jinejebe, Arabazana, Jabana, Jambe, Jisono, Anila, Tata, Jizim, Sajaba, Comanum, Kasu, Shin, Jizano, Druba, Chiba, Pola, Lubinji, Jiva, Poda, Jiba, Tajaranum, Jacob, Zone, Charanum, Jimogado, Jaba, Lome, Chala, Lama, Jizin, Jambe, Anisome, Bara, Jisona, Somo, Shive, and Shimbu, Rashu, Zambome, Jay, Yanzo, Lava, After the mandala offering is the requesting line, so repeat after me this line. Tusum Sanje, Tamje Tang, Tabe Lai, Mooni, Pandelame, Kadingi, Dala Jena, Zadu So, Tusum Sanje, Tamje Tang, Tabe Lai, Mooni, Pandelame, Kadingi, Dala Jena, Tusum Sanje, Tamje Tang, Tabe Lai, Mooni, Pandelame, Kadingi, Dala Jena, Zadu So, Shezo, the Manju, the Vajra, the Mipadition to Zodini, and Lama Choedak Rinpoche, and Bella, Sakya Trizin Gyana Vajra Rinpoche, the Gyana Vajra. Now, up to the requesting line is the purification prayer, which is silent prayer. So, repeat after me these lines together. Kunjo Sumla, Taja Samje, Sosorsha, Roegela, Jera, Sanje Chanjo, Yigisong, Sanje Choedak, Sojola, Chanjo Pardo, Japsuche, Ranshen Dene, Rabruche, Chanjo Sene, Kebaraje, Chanjo Choge, Semne Jegene, Simjan Tamje, Dag Jundonyer, Chanjo Jejo, Yuan Jebaraje, Gola Penger, Sanje Rubarasho, Kunjo Somla, Rajabje, Divatamje, Sosorsha, Roegela, Jera, Sanje Chanjo, Yigisong, Sanje Choedak, Sojola, Jupado, Japsuche, Ranshen Dene, Rabruche, Chanjo Semne, Kebaraje, Chanjo Choge, Semne Jegene, Simjan Tamje, Dag Jundonyer, Chanjo Jejo, Rola Penger, Sanje Rubarasho, Kunjo Sumla, Dajabje, Digwa Tamje, Sosorsha, Roegela, Chanjo, Yigisong, Sanje Choedak, Sojola, Chanjo Pardo, Japsuche, Ranshen Dene, Rabruche, Chanjo Semne, Kebaraje, Chanjo Choge, Semne Jegene, Simjan Tamje, Dag Jundonyer, Chanjo Jejo, Yuan Jebaraje, Rola Penger, Sanje Rubarasho. Now, after the purification prayer, we'll do the uncommon request. Tusum Sanje, Tamje Yingo, Pandel Lama, Hambe, Dala, Jizin Jambeyangi, Usung Tugi, Jesu Nawa, Maluba, Saduso, Tusum Sanje, Tamje Yingo, Pandel Lama, Hambe, Dala, Jizin Jambeyangi, Usung Tugi, Jesu Nawa, Maluba, Saduso, Tusum Sanje, Tamje Yingo, Pandel Lama, Hambe, Dala, Jizin Jambeyangi, Usung Tugi, Jesu Nawa, Maluba, Saduso, Shezo, the Monajan, Ingundoyan, Mishra, Jizna, Rubachibala, Janang, Shigi. Thomas Janangi Shiki, but the Mibadition to Zoro, Jamang, and Yamadravish to Gana, so to Pichano, Gila, the Bada, the Bada, Jan, Kumbushi, Joe, Mosobo, the Mosobo, house. Now for the main part of the initiation. you realize that or visualize that the Guru is none other than the Manjushri himself. Light is issues out from the Guru's heart. It touches your body and it purifies all your negative deeds or emotions. And then after the purification, your physical body, it turns into the ball of light. And after, when the Guru says Om Subha Shuddha Sadam Subha Shuddha Ham, and everything dissolves into emptiness. 동반이도 주로 동반을 반대마다 되냐 동반마다 다외지고 있는 처럼지 뭐디 설정은 더 진행 조조발레스 when after the mantra after the emptiness lotus appears. On top of that is the moon disk. On top of that is your mind. The essence of your mind turned into the letter D, in color, yellow in color. Jimodongi Shuba, Shabdu Jimodongi Shuba, Shabdu Jimodongi Shuba, Rinpoche Gyana Vajra Rinpoche, Shanta Jen, Rabbe Subhanga Yadu Jan, Shino Lord Juru Lebenyam Jen, Jibe Seji Ranshin Jeti Ram, Rimba Tukaro. And out of the letter D, you have to visualize yourself now in the form of Manjushri. Yellowish in color. With one face, two hands, the sword of the wisdom sword, and the left hand is holding Upala, the root of Upala, and the Upala flower is blossoming behind the left ear, and also holding a text. Two legs are in the lotus position, adorned with all the jewelries, and also multicolored robes. Your hair is in a lock. Yeah. The rubber lock. Yeah, tied in a lock. Tied in a lock. You have the physical appearance of a 16-year-old. Behind yourself is the moon disk. And on forehead is letter Om, on your throat is letter R, on your heart is letter Hum. Again, with your light is issues out from the Guru's heart. Through the power of your devotion. Again, light is issues out from the Guru's heart, goes to all the directions, to all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And from them, the blessings in the form of Manjushri comes out. Big ones as big as Mount Sumru, the smaller ones as small as atoms. Many of them comes out, and all of these goes through the crown of your head, and also through the pores of your skin goes into your body. So you visualize this. For the mantra blessing. Now you are in a form of Manjushri. Also, the Guru is also in the Guru's heart, in the moon disc. On that, on top of the moon disc is the 8-spoke chakra. The right side has the letter D, left side has letter R, and the left then the remaining the Rapatana, all the letters surrounding. And with this great devotion that you see your master in a Manjushri, from the letter D, which is in Guru's heart, another rosary of mantra comes up, Amara Bhajana D comes out through the Guru's mouth into your mouth and goes around the letter D in your heart. So with this visualization, you repeat the mantra 3 times with me. The first one is to bless or absorb the mantra into yourself. And the second one is to bless, and third one is to establish the mantra into your mental continuum. So with this visualization, repeat the mantra 3 times with me. Om Arabaza Nadi. Om Arabaza Nadi. Om Arabaza Nadi. Jamira Savade Mase Gotre was the Maria Mabazan, Romero Belovengi, the Ila, the Badam Choncharangi, the Ila, and Mishim, Basa Tamjasane, Tameto Bishara Jula Jibam Mabaz, the Udo Jula, the Jazaji, somewhere Mabaz. Now, yourself and also in the master's tongue, there's the letter D. Visualize the letter D is there, reddish, yellowish in color. From the letter D which you have, or in the master's tongue, another D comes out and goes absorbed to the letter D which you have in your tongue, symbolizing that all the ignorance will be cleared, and you will be. This is also to as a auspiciousness that that you will be also you will have the wisdom of understanding the selflessness, to understand the selflessness. With this visualization, we will chant the letter D 100 times together. After receiving this mantra blessing, while offering flower or visualize while offering these lines with rejoice. Chomden dage, sonlage, chomden dala, gowarde, chomden dage, sonlage, chomden dala, gowarde, chomden dage, sonlage, chomden dala, gowarde. Then middle drawing changing the Udu Shabam about the Junior de la Zara General was the Rajimura the Junior de la Zara General was the Rajimura the Junior de la Zara General was the Rajimura the Junior so Rivat Madinum Jura Jambe and Jisaki Chanamulu Bajuba Churoji. Tamjava Lungu the Migration to the Tizana so that she's on Jamato Jambe, Idam Gitas, Tisa, and Jinja. Now here you're promising to keep Manjushri as your deity until enlightenment is reached, and also to chant the mantra as much as you can. So repeat after me these lines. So this is where you're promising. So basically what you're saying in Tibetan is calling out to the Guru. My name, it says Dao Ming, which means my name. So you have to add your own name here. From now until enlightenment is reached, Manjushri as my deity. And in Manjushri's mantra, I will chant as much as I can. This is what you're saying in Tibetan. Loben, Gongsuso, Da Ming, Shegiwa, Tetane Sonde, Sanjeji, Hobang, Matobji Pardo, Jizun Jambeyang, Idam Jilhar, Sungshin, Isangajang, Jinisu, Dawargyo, Loben, Gongsuso, Da Ming. Shegiwe, Tetane Sonde, Sanjeji, Hobang, Matobji Pardo, Jizun Jambeyang, Idam Jilhar, Sungshin, Isangajang, Jinisu, Dawargyo, Loben, Gongsuso, Da Ming, Dishigiwe, Tetane Sonde, Sanjeji, Hobang, Matobji Pardo, Jizun Jambeyang, Idam Jilhar, Sungshin, Isangajang, Jinisu, Dawargyo. Junadilla Zarajindra was a Zonga, the Shotambazo, or Bazamadu, Jambi Arabas and Chinan, the Maluba Jubarachu, Jinja Belunga, the Mipatition to the Lion of Music. When you can as a Puga bought here to Jugoloban, the Jina Togana, Jambe, and good Tezo Gitan Barajana, Chiranam, Ninga, the Latin, Chinji of the Chatham Jigi, Nelo, Tributatum, Trawang, some Toba, Mebazan, and the thing on the Johnson Jinian Barajobara. Again, with the great devotions towards your master, light these issues out from the Guru's heart. And then there's another Manjushri which is in front of you. It touches that Manjushri. It touches the heart of the Manjushri. It invokes the mind blessing. And from the master or in a form of Manjushri, and also the Manjushri in front of you. Manjushris comes animation or the Manjushris comes out. The size of your thumb, many Manjushris comes out, and all these Manjushri dissolve into your heart, into the letter D which you have in your heart. What they're symbolizing is that you have understood the true meaning, the ultimate truth. Now here we are talking about emptiness. It is also very important to understand the whatever minimum understanding what I have of emptiness is that we often, when we say emptiness, we often think about sky, empty house, empty space. So this the how do you say, the Buddhist emptiness that we are talking about, it has nothing to do with the outer emptiness that we see. This is what we understand. For example, when we see an object or anything like that, when we see that if you use this object, then there's nothing to be found. That understanding is what we call emptiness, not the outer empty space, empty sky. That's just, we are talking about worldly terms, which doesn't, I mean, it's empty space. You can put your car there, you can park the car there because it's empty. So because we are talking about something which doesn't exist. But here, the emptiness, in the religious terms that we are talking, whenever we say empty, we mean the meaning of all phenomena. The true nature of all phenomena is empty. That means this house is empty, this room is empty, because when we dissect, what do you mean by this? I can see in this room, I can feel this, I can touch this wall, I can touch this window, I can touch the ceiling. What do you mean it's empty? This is the general question that arises in our mind. But if you dissect, this is before we think. Remember, I said we don't think. This is before we think. Now, after we think a little bit, even a little bit, even I can explain as much as I can. For example, if I say, is this window, is this room? This is no, this is not. This is just the window. It's not the room. Is this ceiling the room? No, the ceiling is not the room. It's just the ceiling. So dissect this. You cannot find the room. That is what we call, or otherwise we cannot say, oh, this structure does not. What do you mean by I cannot walk through the structure because there's a structure, so that's why I cannot walk through. This is generally we understand, but we don't mean to say that this structure does not exist. But if you, this is okay. There's always two ways. What you see, generally we say, if you see something, then when you trust, when you see is what you get, or something like this. Is, I believe, or there's also a saying that only when you see it, then you have believed it. Seeing is, yeah, seeing is believing. This is what we say. But here, seeing is not believing. Seeing is what you don't see. That the beyond seeing, you have to go beyond that. Anything any object, the wheel of the car is the car, no. The tire, the engine of the car, is that the car? No. The window of the door, back side, front side, thousands of screws and pieces come together, then we have a car. Now that same logic you can apply it, but just behind you we have this huge mountain. I cannot say this mountain does not exist, but that's before I analyze. So now mountain are made out of these millions of gazillions of small atoms come together, then you have a mountain. You cannot say, point a finger at one part of the mountain and say, this is the mountain. You cannot say that, because the mountain is a combination of so many things. So that's why it is very important to, I mean, I think it's impossible to understand emptiness without understanding the interdependent interdependent origination. Without understanding interdependent origination, you cannot understand emptiness. So this is also very important, because whenever you see an object or anything like that, then you, if you think beyond that, then you will find the emptiness. So what you understand, that knowledge, that wisdom that you have, now this is what we call the emptiness, not the outer things which you see with your naked eyes. At the same time, I used to think, oh, one can be, it's very difficult to meditate, because very difficult to keep your mind in one state, or to then or in the beginning I said we need two things to be enlightened: the merit and wisdom. Now the wisdom, they are both called, in our terms, we call the merit, the two kinds of merit. So I used to think, yes, it's easy to practice compassion. It is easy to give people food, give something, offer them something or whatever, life release. We can do all that. That's much easier. I thought, oh, we can never gain the merit of wisdom, because that only coming from practicing emptiness. I used to think that. Now then again, here the mistakes that I made is that what is the meaning of emptiness? That every time you do your sadhana, you are actually practicing on emptiness. Because in the beginning, if you remember, every time before you visualize yourself in the form of any deity that you're practicing, remember that you don't just turn into that. First, what you do is you turn in everything become into emptiness. Now, out of the emptiness, because either you can be this person or that person, you cannot be two persons together at the same time. So you're either this person or that deity. So before you turn into, or you visualize yourself in the form of the deity, first thing you do is you dissolve into emptiness. Then out of the emptiness, through the power of your devotion and your how do you say, practice, then you form out of the emptiness. Out of the emptiness is very important. Out of the emptiness, then you transform, or you visualize yourself in the deity yourself. So this is also a second important information that I wanted to give you, is that many people, the biggest problem, or I would say, is that people say, oh, I'm just a normal person. I'm just a person working in an office, or doing some working in a factory, or some normal person. I cannot be the Buddha, or you are, or lamas, or kimbos, and these are like, they will be, there's no such thing like that. Everybody, we are on the same level, same, everything is same. So there's no bigger person, greater person. When it comes to practice, they are all in the same. So one should not feel that I am a normal person. For me, especially being, if when you do Buddhist practice, there is no such thing as normal person, because we are all enlightened. We all have the ability. We all have not just the Buddhists, but also every sentient being. When you say every sentient, that includes everything: hell realm, God's realm, demigods realm. I mean, all forms of human. But we all have the ability now to turn that ability into the reality. Now that is where we have to work on it. But otherwise, we already, the nature of our, how do you say, the inside is it's already enlightened. We must remember that. So if you are an ordinary person, you cannot be a god. You cannot be a deity. I'm sorry, not god. I mean deity. You cannot be a deity. If you are a deity, if you are visualizing yourself in a form of deity, you can't be ordinary. There can't be an ordinary deity. Because if you are thinking, oh, I am an ordinary person, and then I am turning into that deity, either the deity is the ordinary, or you are a special, or you are you have this, how do you say, ability to be. So this is a very, we have to first clear of all the doubts. You are an ordinary person, you are working in some, wherever you're working, whatever you are doing. When you are if you are visualizing yourself in form of this deity, that means you are becoming this deity. That you cannot, how to say, oh, I person, but I am also, you cannot do that. You cannot say that. So we have to have the confidence before you that I can achieve, I can become enlightenment. Again, these are very simple things, but I think it's also there's nothing to become. You are already Buddha. There's nothing to, you cannot, as I said in the beginning, you cannot become something which you are not. You just have to realize, no matter how many clothes you wear, if you take off the clothes, you will be inside the same thing, right? You cannot, so just because I wear this cloth, I'm a different person. Just because I wear this cloth, I'm a different person. No, doesn't matter. Whatever clothes you wear outside, inside, it's the same. So there's just like that. Inside, your mind is pure. You're already Buddha, but because of these emotions, you are covered with these emotions. And when you find a diamond in the ground, does not mean the diamond is bad. It's just that diamond is covered by mud and rock and all these things, so you can't see it. But does not mean the diamond is not good or anything. When sun sets does not mean that sun is turning off. It's just they can't see. It does not mean it doesn't exist, because it will come the next day. But the thing is that we have to understand this. There is the confidence. We must have the confidence. Already thinking, oh, I can't do this, then you are just making it harder. You are just making it more difficult. So it is very important to first have not overconfident. Now that is also very. I just told my kid student here that two worst things a sports person can have: overconfidence and underconfidence. Overconfidence means that you are thinking that, oh, you can achieve something which you more than what you can achieve. Underconfidence means now you are doubting yourself. You're not, because there was a few days ago, there was a football match with some other team that came to our school, so they were playing. I was trying to tell them that the two worst thing a sports person can have: overconfidence, then you are not playing to your ability. Underconfidence also, again, you are not playing to your ability, because you are doubting yourself. So the same thing, I think the same thing goes as a practitioner also. You should not be overconfident. Oh, I'm a deity now. So remember now, just because you visualize yourself in a form of deity does not mean that you are have all this power and all that. So in order to do that, now if you remember, at the end of the how do you say, your sadhana or any practice you do, what happens? Everything become back to the emptiness. You know, every mandala, you don't create the mandala and just leave there. No, at the end of the puja, at the end of the practice, you are destroying this mandala. Just like that, when you, before you turn into the or visualize yourself in a form of deity, out of the first emptiness, and then out of the emptiness, now you're visualizing yourself in this deity, and after you how do you say, get the blessing, then you are dissolving back into the emptiness. And there's another thing that you are doing while you're doing this, is that now you are training your mind. Remember, any practice, does not matter how secret, how important, how rare practice you are doing, the point is that we want to be enlightened. And what is enlightenment? It's basically knowledge, wisdom, the, how do you say, ability to see the true nature of everything. Once any moment when you see, as we explain, we can have glimpse. We can have glimpse of emptiness. We can have glimpse of how do you say, the deity, or we can have the glimpse of being enlightened. But because our emotions, then we are dragged back into the samsaric emotion, happiness, suffering, desire, anger. We are, swimming in this how do you say, emotion. So this is these kind of times when you are, because sadhana you do every day. So every day you are emptiness, deity, emptiness, deity. So your mind is how do you say, practicing to basically, with this, what happens at the same time is you are practicing to, I cannot say control, because there's no such thing as controlling mind. It's just that your mind is more stable. What we want is, I always say that more than, people always say we want happiness, but I would say more than happiness, your stable mind is more precious than happiness, because happiness is one emotion. It go up and then you're sad, happy, sad, happy, sad. It goes up and down. But when you are calm, when you are stable, now this is where actually the true, if I can name this, the true peace or the true happiness you will find, because then your mind is more stable. That way you are physically more healthier, mentally more stable, then you are more calm. So this is I find this is much more important than happy, unhappy, because happy and unhappy, it's just how to say, your emotions are playing tricks with you. It's also important to understand that, and also as every day when you do your sadhana and all that, you are just like how to say also important to understand that whatever practice you do, our goal is to not just to meet Manjushri or to see Manjushri. That is not our goal. All these deities, our goal is not to meet them, to be next to them, or to be close to them, or to have their. Our goal is to achieve enlightenment for ourselves. Why? Because for the sake of all sentient beings. We want to have all sentient beings. That is the ultimate goal. There is no other goal. So it is very important to understand that Manjushri, Avalokshtarva, Vajrapani, and all these Guru Rinpoche, all these masters and deities, it is there for you to help you achieve your enlightenment. That is very important to understand. If you say, I want to meet Manjushri, then what? You meet the Manjushri, then what do you get? What do you do? The other problem that I kind of stumble upon, or I understand, is that the way we think, or I found that actually a few years ago, so I thought it was important to share that, is we want to meet Manjushri, so we want them to solve. It doesn't work that way. Manjushri cannot solve your problem. Even Buddha himself come in front of you, he cannot solve your problem. You have to solve your own problem. That is the only way to solve your problem, to be enlightened, is that you have to be enlightened. Nobody can make you enlightened. Nobody can send you to heaven. Nobody can send you to hell. Nobody can make you enlightened. Now, the reason why we have this, as I said before, also this karmic link. Now, the karmic link, whether it's a deity or whether it's a master that you meet, is that some master, when you say, for example, when you see somebody and when you say somebody says, you really want to do that, you really want to follow his footsteps, you really want to be more compassionate. Now, this is where it's called karmic link comes in, because then you are, for example, what's the difference whether some famous celebrity is holding a Coca-Cola or somebody nobody knows holding a Coca-Cola? What is the difference? Why that famous person is more, his photograph is taken everywhere, and this other person is holding Coca-Cola does not mean anything. Because when that famous person is wearing a cloth or eating some food or some place, everybody wants to bring that or eat that or want to be in that place. You know, so that kind of, otherwise normal person or anybody says to holding a thing, or nobody really gives importance to that. So that's why when you meet a master with your karmic link master, then you feel, I mean, it happens, many of the things you are how do you say, automatically then how do you say, let's say if I ask somebody to go to Delhi or someplace, the person who doesn't want to go, it is so difficult. I mean, how can I go to Delhi? I have this 6-hour drive or like 2-hour flight, or if you take a train with maybe a 8-hour train. "Oh, I cannot do this. All the Rinpoche is asking me to go, but I can. He will be going through so much difficult. Now, who person? Same thing, same. But if a person who wants to go to Delhi, if I ask that person to go to Delhi, now imagine how difficult it will be for them. But for them person, he'll be more than happy. He'll be eager to go to Delhi because he already wants to go to Delhi. So just like that, your mind, when your mind wants to do something, then then it's downhill. There's no, once your mind is already set, you want to be enlightened and to want to be enlightened, then when you have no attachment, when you have no, how do you say, it's simple, grasping thoughts, then it's downhill. Then there's no effort. You don't need how to say, and naturally you're going to. But until unless you have grasping thoughts, no matter good, will be all good bad things you have, but good things are. There's no any grasping. When it comes to that kind of that level, any grasping is not worthy, because whether you like Saturday or Sunday, the rest of the week is not good, but that also is keeping you in the samsara because you like Saturday or Sunday. You know, Monday and Tuesday you don't like, but you may think, oh, samsara because of Monday and Tuesday. Like you cannot say that, because Saturday, Sunday also is keeping you in the samsara. You have to understand that. So once you get into every how do you say, grasping thoughts, then it is like, that's one of the main reasons that I used to think, how is it possible that especially in the tantric practices, you say, oh, you can be enlightened in this very moment, in this moment, or in this very lifetime. How is it possible? Because the distance between you and and enlightenment, it is ridiculously short. It is like thinner than a paper thin. But because all these grasping thoughts we have, which is keeping you from enlightenment. So anytime you get rid of your grasping thoughts or your emotions, then you're already there. You don't have to go anywhere. You are already there. You're already enlightened from inside. So these are, I think, it's important to understand, because sometimes we give, how do you say, some secret initiation where there is no better initiation or lower quality initiation or more expensive initiation, or for me it does not make any sense. For me, there's no more powerful deity or less powerful deity, or Manjushri is peaceful, or Avalokiteshvara is peaceful, or to get rid of my obstacles, I need Mahakala, or I need some Vajrapani who are wrathful and he has heads and all that. It does not make any sense. That before all of this is because we are thinking samsarically. We want the hero, we want a hero, we want the villain to be destroyed, and we want hero to win. So in real life, there's no hero and there's no villain. So one must understand that. So as I said, emptiness. The last part is where you gurus, which is in form of Manjushri. Also, there's a Manjushri in front of you from both their from both their heart. Manjushri size of thumb, and they dissolve into your letter D, which you have in your heart, symbolizing that you will see the ultimate truth. So on this, we are meditating on emptiness for a moment. And again, meditation. Generally, we say, "Oh, I'm meditating. I feel very relaxed today. I'm meditating." So that's one part of the beginning part of meditation. Meditation actually, when you go to the after the beginning, where you are trying to keep your mind one, the way we start our meditation. I'm not talking about this particular meditation, but generally is that we try to keep your mind in an object or picture or anything like that, so that you can keep your, because otherwise you don't understand how wild our mind is, how many thoughts coming into our minds. So we try to keep it in one side, and after that, now this is just the beginning. People say, "Oh, this I did meditation, so I feel very relaxed, or I'm sleeping, or I feel I'm in a beach or something like that." But that is not the main part of the main part of the meditation. Is basically dissecting everything. That same logic that we used before, that if the mountain, it does not exist, because if you dissect the mountain, there's no mountain. If you dissect this house, there's no house. If you dissect the car, there's no car. Just like your physical body, also this is my this is not me. My right hand is not me. My left hand is not me, because I am here, but I cannot identify where I am. If I say, is my right hand me? No, this is not just my right hand. Is left hand? No. My right leg, left leg? No. My stomach, my head, then where is me? I cannot find. So this is dissecting everything. And then also gom in Tibetan, it means basically, if you translate that, you can translate into get used to it. Gomba. Gom in gom is basically you are getting used to this. You are getting used to because the importance of emptiness is that's the best antidote for grasping thoughts, for emptiness, for selfish thoughts. That's the best antidote, because you cannot be attached to your dream. As soon as you wake up, you have a beautiful family in your dream. You have a beautiful car. You have a beautiful house where you have everything perfect. Then, as soon as you wake up, that was just a dream. I didn't know that. While I was dreaming, I didn't know, but now I know. I won't be worrying about the house in my dream. I won't be worrying about the family that I have in my dream, because it's just a dream. When you realize that everything is, all the emotions, all the attachment is gone, because you realize it does not exist. So just like that, when with the practicing emptiness, then this is the best way to get rid of your grasping thoughts, or your emotion, because grasping thoughts are there because of our emotions, this. So this is very important to practice on emptiness. Without practice on emptiness, there is no enlightenment. We must understand that also. No matter how compassionate you are, no matter how even, of course, compassion, for example. Now there are many levels of compassion. First, normal compassion. I feel compassion. There's some person is in pain. This person is suffering. I want to, that person to be happy. That person to be out of this suffering. But now you cannot now be attached to that compassion. You may think, oh, that's a good thing. I'm very compassionate. I am a good thought, but you cannot be attached. You have to go beyond that to be higher level of understanding or higher level of compassion. Now, even you have to say, that person is going through suffering, but it doesn't really exist. You have to use that same logic that we used with all the other things. So now that is called the emptiness with a mixture with the compassion mixed with emptiness. Now that is the higher level. Now this is very important. Once you have that, then it is much more. You are getting into a much deeper and much greater level of understanding. So this also one must understand. Now this is the conclusion part. Also, you have to repeat after me, saying that whatever samayas you have received during this initiation, I will promise to keep them. And again, samaya is the most important for especially for tantric practitioner. There is nothing greater or more important than keeping your samaya. Now the samaya is basically, if in I think normal terms, if I say, is basically the deal you make with your master. You give me this teaching, I will do this. We cannot generalize because everybody do same thing. No. This is the personal deal. This is the personal deal, mentally or physical, whatever it deal. When you talk, for example, when you buy a house, you are not saying, "Oh yeah, I buy the house." No, you don't say. You have to sign the contract. You are doing with the lawyers and all that. So same thing, you are making this deal with your master that you give me this method. These are all methods. Every practice sadhana, every ritual, every retreat, everything you do is method for enlightened. You cannot, sometimes we give too much importance to the method, and then we forget our goal. Our goal was, is, and always will be to be enlightened ourselves and also all sentient beings. So this is also very important. I know there are so many important things, but this, so samaya is also for, especially for a tantric practitioner, there is no, because that is where you are getting all your how do you say motivation. This is because, as I said, if you already want to go to Delhi, then I just have to mention, can you go to, you are already halfway to Delhi. You're already, you will not complain, oh, I cannot get a taxi, oh, there's no bus ticket, oh, the road is too hot. No, not all their complaint is go out of the window. As soon as I say Delhi, you're already packing your bags. So that's why your motivation is very important, and this is where the samaya and also this comes, the importance. So repeat after me these lines. Zowe chidar kazawa teda thamje dagi zowe chidar kazawa teda thamje dagi kazawa teda thamje dagi. 지금 전백이 just 나왔어 뭐 그런 따라기 연도 미되면 러시 보고라 주 변자 보면 시 언제서 예서 이제 이게 그래 저버려라 정도 바보 넘어데 대한민국의 지도 전배 알아봐서나 전화 좀 말려봐 좀 봐야 라싱게 되는 주ban television 게서 봐서 받anya 전주님 고용 송어 된지도 이제 벌어줘. Now this is the last part, is the dedication prayer, and also, again, this is in the beginning the motivation, and the main part realizing yourself and you are practicing that, and the conclusion part, the dedication of all the merits you have received while this initiation, or while your sadhana, or while your ritual, anything is very important. This is the same all across any practice you do. Motivation, your practice, and then the dedication of your merits. The merit, the way merit works is the more you dedicate, the more you give, the greater it becomes. It's not like, oh, if I give all my merits, what will I get? I run out of merit. No, the greater how do you say, you give, the greater you will also get. For example, if you say, I am doing this for the sake of all, if I say I'm doing this for my family, or I'm doing this for 10 people, 20 people, you are only getting this much merit. Now, if I say, if I'm doing human beings, now your own one person's prayer becomes so much more powerful, so much more greater. So, and that means that much more merits you are gaining. So this is also very important. Always remember, merit, without merit, there is nothing you can achieve. So when you have every sentient being in your prayer, that means you are gaining so much more merit through this way. By also dedicating the merits, you are actually the merit of you making it greater than it is. Sonam di damje seban ni damne nyebe rana banje ne jenga naje balon rubai zebe zone rubai jamba boy jeba jeba gondo samba de on de jende de la gye jezo da lo jenge wan de do damje ma do anjong jo jo ye ro ja zo yo zo Hare Jada Damba Sada Basa Jamboye Damba Jinjoro Je Gonje Beje Dewa Doje Depande Saje Suje Jeba Dam Drube Ganje Jeje Gunja Shondrowe Lama Jeje Pende Lanjera Waje Jeje Jambe Jawa Niba Bande Saje Damba Yirin Nebe Kashi. Thank you.